Welcome to Z's Daily Acceptance. I'm Z and I'm Junkie. Beautiful day out here today. Filming about a little over 10,000 feet up. Let's see, the temp is, it's beautiful. It's like an actual 60, a real feel in the 70s. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. However, my journey in recovery. This is number 5. Picking up where I left off in 4, the perseverance. The perseverance. The principle of the 5th step. Why? Because we need to continue despite of the difficulty. That's a dictionary definition of that perseverance. We need to continue that 5th step. We need to get into that 5th step and do it. Okay? Despite the difficulty. Well, what's the difficulty? Well, the difficulty is that we got to share our entire 4th step. Okay? With God, ourselves, and another human being. The human being I shared mine with is the one who I'm married to. Okay? That's who I decided to share mine with in the 5th step. The God of my understanding set it up that way. In retrospect, when I look back on it, it was years ago, looking back on it, principled. It's exactly that, because the 5th step is when I didn't have a sponsor. Very interesting. Okay, all other steps I had sponsors, but in that 5th step, I was out a sponsor. I was without a sponsor. He wanted me to do that step with the one who I'm married to, because I was never straight up with anybody. Okay, my marriage is mind-blowing, man, because there's no secrets. There's no like magic cure. There's no secret. She knows me like the God of my understanding knows me. Nobody's ever known me. I was a bunch of secrets because nobody knew me. You know why nobody knew me? Because I didn't know myself. How can somebody know me when I don't even know myself? I invented myself regularly on a daily basis because whatever served my ways and means of getting and doing more, that's what I became. Okay, because we're filling that set, loading that set, and shooting that set superseded all things. So whatever I needed to be, okay, that's what I became. You see, my butt was owned. Okay, my butt was owned. By what? The addiction. By way of choice, I made my own. For over half a century, I was owned. I experienced jails, institutions, and death for everything they had to offer. You see, recovery and these steps restore us to our rightful owner. What? Restore us to our rightful owner. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, own, man. Like, man, ain't nobody owning me, man. Ain't nobody owning me. Oh, no? The addiction owned our ass. Excuse the French. The addiction owned us. Are you kidding me? Our rightful owner is the God of our understanding. And even if we had the same God of our understanding, the way we would understand that God of our understanding would be completely different. Because it's personal, it's intimate. You know, on earth as it is in heaven, the God of my understanding said, look, see, you popped out of a womb with 7 other children. Did anybody have the same gift? Did anybody speak the same? Did anybody look exactly the same? Did anybody communicate the same? No. Well, good, Z, because it's the same thing with us. Okay? Each one of us communicates totally different than the next. Even if it's the same, it's a little different. Because we come in with nothing unique in this program, which is awesome for the identification. But when we start coming into this program and start doing these steps, that's our spiritual journey. In that spiritual journey, we learn our God-given gifts that have always been in us. And we take that to the fellowship and to this world, and we share that, and here comes the diversity, okay? We start understanding we're very different from the next cat in our gifts. And we share them because unity is based on our diversity, okay? Unity is based on our diversity. Don't ever mistake unity for conformity. Conformity is the killer of unity, which is the killer of diversity because it's in our diversity in which we have our unity. Same thing with God and my understanding. Perseverance of the fifth step. Okay, it's interesting. You see in that fifth step, it's got a bunch of questions. Once again, my fellowship's got a beautiful book. And I mention that a lot because of my gratitude. Like, of my predecessors. They may have known a thing or two worldwide, because that's how my fellowship does it. They send it out to the world. Okay? And the world sends it back. And then they put it to the groups. It's a process. The bigger the conscience, the bigger the group conscience, the more God will express himself in that group. And our literature is awesome. Let me get back to the fifth step. There's questions, once again. Okay, many of them, but there was one particular, okay? The newcomer, once again, is the most important person. Okay, but we all learn. We never stop learning. It keeps revealing because there's no graduation. This is a lifestyle, an awesome one. So one of the questions in the fifth step amongst many says, ask me, does your outsides match your insides? Okay, or it was worded, did your outsides ever match your insides, or did your outsides match your insides? Okay. And I'm like, first rate, I go, yeah, man. Everybody knew I was a junkie. I've been admitting that since 79. Everybody knew I was a junkie. No, the God of my understanding came to me. Okay, because once again, when I'm doing my step work, there's no sponsor looking over my shoulder. You see, if there is, that'd be sick. See, if you got a sponsor looking over your shoulder while you're doing step work, you know what I mean? If I need guidance or something like that, that's one thing. But usually I'm alone. That's just my experience. I am alone only with the God of my understanding, so therefore I'm not alone. It's me and the God of my understanding that's doing that work. So did my outsides ever match my insides? Well, yeah, man, I was a junkie. Everybody knew it. I ran that way for so long. No, they never matched. My outsides never matched my insides. How? I mentioned earlier, how could anybody even know me? Because I didn't even know myself, because I reinvented myself on a daily basis. Why? Because the ways and means of getting and doing more superseded everything. And whatever I needed to be, whatever I needed to do, and whatever I needed to get into, well, that's what I look like. Never matched in here. You see what I'm saying? See, I could be in your store, and you could think I'm appreciating your inventory in that store. I'm casing it. You see, they never matched. This store owner thinks I'm loving their inventory. I'm casing the place. Okay? I'm not going to spend all day on this, but I'll bring it to here. Here's a store owner thinking I'm enjoying their inventory. I'm casing it. I'm looking at skylights. Okay? My mom, right in front of her. She thinks for once I'm actually there because I want to be there talking to her. You know what I'm saying? But I got to go take something from her. Everything in between and beyond, they never matched. Whoa! I gotta get back to that first step, man. I had to get into honest acceptance, the action of giving consent to receive and undertake. That's acceptance. I need to get into action of giving consent to receive the power of the God of my understanding so I can untake that and digest that. And then I need to surrender that so I can experience what that was, okay, so I can experience something else. Yeah, finally experiencing things. See, because I always experience an experience before the experience could be experienced, and I thought I had an experience. I never experienced anything. I got jaded like that. Never matched. Today, for years, my insides match my outsides. The freedom attached to that is unbelievable. Okay? The freedom attached to that is unbelievable. I ain't got to worry about what I said, what did this, oh my God. The energy that I used to put out in situations, okay, to get my solution, because by way of choice, I made the addiction my own, which was sucking the life force out of me. What's that look like? Well, it's like, I don't know, I'm on the floor shooting water, waiting on the dope man to come. That ain't coming. With feces running down my leg because I can't make it to the bathroom 2 feet to the right of me. Takes me a month to make it to the mailbox. I got to contemplate from my walk-in closet, right? Huge home, walk-in closet, okay? I got to contemplate about getting out of that closet, okay? Weeks. Yeah, make it to the mailbox, take a month. That's what life was. See, to deal with that, my solution was the set. The solution was the set. I don't know, what is your solution? The set? The pill? The alcohol? The food? Whoa. The sex? Okay, the codependent relationships? Okay, the gambling? Work? On and on and on. Those are solutions. The addiction banks. The addiction banks on us being stuck in that confusion. Don't ever confuse your solution with the addiction. The addiction, by way of choice, I make my own or not, doesn't give a rat's behind about what we're using to survive it. Getting back to the fifth step. Freedom of my insides, matching my outsides. It's not a do-it-yourself program. This is a program about relationships. The profound one is between me and the God of my understanding. Primarily, after that is the one who I'm married to. After that is who I use and who I meet and stuff like that. Yeah, I could just be me today. I don't have to invent something, you know? Because I'm on marching orders from the addiction. By way of choice, I make my own or not. So the perseverance of the fifth step. So what do we have? We have the honor. I'm going to speak a lot about principles because there's principles in each step, and the steps are the solution. Working the steps? Oh, working the steps. Reading all the literature on that step, answering all the questions on that step, sharing that step with a sponsor or in the fifth step with another human being. Okay? Finding out the principles while you're sharing that and in those first three. And after those first three, getting some actual application in them. Because if there's no actual application, there's no true understanding. Don't kid yourself. Okay? And when the actual application, okay, that's the only way that lifestyle is going to be born up out. Okay? Is out of that actual application. Lifestyle and recovery has no chance without the actual application of the principles and the steps. So, lifestyle and recovery, the only chance for that is to have some actual application first. And the only chance for that is to actually share your work that you've done, okay? And the only chance for that is to actually do the step work and the writing. The only chance for that is to do the reading that's been written on that step. You know, there's just great, great freedom. This is not a do-it-yourself program. This is a program of relationships, once again. So perseverance of that fifth step. So I'm going to go on to the sixth. Okay, the sixth step. What are those principles in that sixth step? Tenacity. Okay? Tenacity is a major intolerance. Okay? The sixth step, when you have all your defects of character out in front of you, okay, because that's what the sixth step is about. Making a list of all your defects of character. If all your character defects, well, let me tell you something. When you make a list of your character defects, I stopped at like a couple hundred, I'm serious. I stopped. Okay, I'll get into that in a second. When you have all your character defects displayed out in front of you, not that somebody else has put in front of you or written about you, that you wrote about yourself. When you have that displayed out in front of you, you better have some tenacity. Okay, I'll get to the tolerance in a second. Tenacity is a firm grip. Well, firm grip of what? What do you mean a firm grip? Yeah, I better have tenacity when I got a display of character defects that I've written about myself out in front of me. I better have a firm grip of the honesty, the acceptance, and the surrender of the first, the open-mindedness, the willingness, oh baby, stay open-minded and willing, okay, and the hope in the second, the faith, trust, and commitment of the third, the courage in the fourth, and the perseverance in the fifth, when I got all my defects of character laid out in front of me. Oh yeah, tenacity, I better have a firm grip on those prior principles. The steps are in order for a reason. The steps are in order for a reason. You know, these principles are there in each step for a reason. Okay? If you didn't get the reason prior to this, get it now. Because that sixth step, man, when I had all these defects of character laid out in me, okay, laid out in front of me, I needed that tenacity. I needed a firm grip on all the principles I have learned and understood only by way of actual application in my life, and had a little bit of, at that time, a little taste of lifestyle out of them. I think I did. Because the sixth step could have possibly sent me out. Okay? Tolerance. Well, why would tolerance be there? Well, you know, I couldn't tolerate anything. I couldn't tolerate myself. I couldn't tolerate others. But having that grip, that tenacity, that firm grip on the principles prior to this step, as I just mentioned, allowed me to sit there and be with that and gain some tolerance, man. And gaining that tolerance in that sixth step allowed me to start having tolerance with others. Because it has to start in the internal. Everything has to start on the internal. There's nothing outside of ourselves that will ever keep us from active use of whatever our solution may be. I've already mentioned that plenty of times. Okay? That tenacity, that firm grip of those principles prior to the sixth step allowed me to be with that and gain some tolerance. Okay, that I have tolerance with others, and it all starts inside. The fellowship can't fix me. The fellowship was never here to fix me. Once again, I'll take something beautiful like the fellowship, and I start repurposing it as if I'm going to experience some recovery out of that. Okay? No. They were never supposed to be here to fix me. Doctors, lawyers, okay? Counselors, therapists, okay? Jails, institutions, death. I go on and on. None of those were here to fix me. They all had their purpose. But I repurposed everything. Okay? I repurposed everything. Nothing outside of ourselves will ever be sufficient. What? Nothing outside of ourselves will ever be sufficient enough to keep us from active use. Okay? Never once have I said not to do those things. Never once have I said not to do those things. What I'm saying is they'll never be sufficient. We have to get with something that was already inside us, and that's those principles I'm talking about. So, in my journey in Recovery 6, I'll pick up with the tenacity. In which we were just talking about in the sixth step. Otherwise, until then, have a great day, and I'll see you at that point. Okay, God bless.